Hi, listeners and viewers of JM Pro TV and Asheville FM. Today we are talking with Jen. Welcome, Jen, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Hi, thanks. My name is Jen Hampton, and I am one of the lead organizers with Asheville Food and Beverage United. Asheville Food and Beverage United is a worker-led coalition dedicated to advocacy and support for all Asheville food and beverage workers. We came together about a year ago after May Day, and we launched our first campaign, the Fair Deal for Food and Beverage Workers, on May Day at the rally. The campaign basically consists of three demands. We're asking for a living wage for all restaurant staff, which is $17.70 in Asheville. We are asking for a minimum of 3 paid sick days and fairness and consistency in scheduling.
Mm-hmm. And why the coalition is starting to organize now?
So we're organizing because we believe in the power of numbers. We believe that because food and beverage workers make up a huge portion of the workforce in Asheville, that we could really be a powerful political force. And we're doing this because for far too long, this kind of jobs in restaurants have been kind of stigmatized as like a job of last resort. You know, I didn't finish my education or whatever life events come up. You just feel like you have to work in food and bev because there's no choice. But that's really not true. Most of us, or many of us, especially who've been in the industry for a long time, really love our jobs. And we feel like we deserve the same dignity and respect that other workers in other industries get. So basically, we're a coalition of food and beverage workers in all of Asheville, and we can't technically form a union in this state of the industry. It has to be done on a shop-by-shop basis, but we can still be a coalition, and it's really just semantics. We can still be a powerful political force. We are also intending to lobby the city for parking permits for downtown workers, because as I've been out talking to various workers downtown, I found out that most of them have to pay to park up to $20 a day. And there's a lot of other cities who have implemented a parking pass for workers in the service industry. And with all the tourism dollars that pour into Asheville, we really think like that's the least that they could do for us.
The tourist industry in our city has grown exponentially. So in 2019, we almost reached 12 million of visitors to our city. And of course, there's increasing of spending. So my question is, that increase have benefit in some way to the workers of the service industry?
Well, they don't really. Workers in front of the house especially, still most of them just get paid $2.13 an hour plus tips. So they are reliant upon tips, because even that $2 an hour, usually they don't get any of that because it gets taken out to pay for their taxes on their tips. I'm sure, as you know, that's not the case in all of the states around the country. We in North Carolina, as well as the rest of the South, are right to work state, which really just means no rights for workers state. You know, they can be fired for any reason. They only have to pay servers or bartenders the bare minimum of $2.13 an hour. We don't get any sick days, so when we have to work, most of us, if we're sick, we just have to work because we can't afford not to work. And so, you know, we pass that on to our customers. We pass that on to each other. Right now, COVID is running rampant through the food and bev industry again. But everybody just kind of has to keep working. Just put on 2 masks and carry on. Yeah, like you said, there's been a really big increase in the amount of tourism dollars that are pouring in. There's hardly ever any parking. Hotels are full. Restaurants are crazy packed downtown. And we're not seeing any added benefits to all the work that we provide. You know, we contribute a lot to the society, especially to this little town. And as is usually the case with workers, you know, we're just kind of left out.
we have seen an increase in organizing and mobilizing workers, and we have seen some results like unionizing of warehouses like Amazon, retail industries, and also the Starbucks unionizing efforts that has been remarkable. But even though those results, we in the US have only 1.2% of all workers in that sector unionizing in 2021, according to the Labor Department. So one of the things that the community asks first when we're talking about workers' rights and unionization is, what are the benefits to be in a union?
The benefits to being in a union are we would be able to collectively bargain and demand better treatment, such as a living wage for all restaurant staff, guaranteed, 3 paid sick days a year, so that when we're sick or we have a family emergency, we can stay home and take care of ourselves and whatever else we need to take care of, and consistency and fairness in scheduling, which seems to be a really big problem, especially in Asheville. We can't plan our lives around our schedules at work because a lot of places will post the schedule the day before or the day the schedule starts. And that's just really no way to live. So a union, if you were unionized, you'd be able to demand that you have 14 days notice for your schedule. Also that you would have consistency in the number of hours that you get scheduled for throughout the year. Another part of the scheduling aspect is when you do have to call out sick or you have an emergency, the industry standard right now is that the employee who is calling out has to go through all the trouble of getting their shift covered or else risk losing their job. And we feel like that really should be the manager's responsibility, not the workers.
Even though unionizing is a right recognized by the U.S. labor law, so we have seen union busting all across the country when a worker is trying to organize to get a fair share. How locally organizations like yours and others are working together trying to cope with this retaliation?
Well, that's a really great question, and that's another thing that Asheville Food and Beverage United plans to do. We're going to be starting some educational workshops next month, late June. We're going to have experts from various fields talking about knowing your rights, about what you can and can't do when forming a union, and more importantly, what the business owners can and cannot do. I think what we found out with the recent Starbucks union drive is that they employ so many union busting tactics that they're not supposed to do, and employees get scared and decide not to unionize because they don't know what their rights are. They don't know that their bosses aren't supposed to retaliate, that they do have a recourse if that happens, that the employers aren't supposed to threaten to take away your benefits if you vote to unionize, that they can't actually do that, but they will say that they will do it just to scare people. So our goal is to have, a workshop once a month to teach people how to unionize and what their rights are, and other aspects of organizing that we come up with, workshops that we can provide.
And how is the relation and networking with other unions across the state and the country? Is there any successful model that we can learn from?
Yes, there are a lot of models. For instance, the Amazon union drive, we're doing kind of the same thing that they did. They didn't affiliate with already established unions. It's completely a grassroots organization, which is what we are. And we are just starting from the ground, talking to people and organizing and educating and bringing people together. And I'm going to a national labor conference called Labor Notes next month in Chicago, where it's going to be a 3-day event of workshops and networking with other groups so that we can learn how to effectively organize.
And finally, for all our listeners and viewers that are interested in organizing themselves and learn more about unions, how they can contact your organizations and also support or volunteer in different efforts that your organization is implementing?
Thanks. That's a great question. You can go to our various social media accounts. Just search in Facebook for Asheville Food and Beverage United. Twitter, same thing. It's at AVLFBU. Instagram is Asheville Food and Beverage United. And you can even email us at avlfbu@gmail.com. And we are having a community meeting next week, Tuesday the 24th, at the Wedge on Foundry Street in the River Arts District at 6 p.m. We'll be meeting outside underneath the covered area. Just look for any of us wearing the black t-shirt with the yellow fist with a fork on it. And just reach out to us if you have any questions about organizing, if you want to help us with our subcommittees. We're looking for people to help with social media, with fundraising, and with community outreach. So you can contribute to a fundraiser on our Facebook page. Just go there and you'll see the link to the fundraiser.